We Arizonans know what Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris has been up to, considering she hit the border here in Arizona.
It was the strongest border security bill we have seen in decades.
Before heading to Las Vegas yesterday.
But what has the Republican nominee Donald Trump been up to? Joining us, it's ABC News national correspondent Steven Portnoy. And Steven, I know Vice President Harris didn't do a ton of appearances this past week. Has former President Trump kept the pedal to the metal?
Well, he certainly has been. Look, today he's going to be in Valdosta, Georgia, where he's going to be stopping at a furniture store that has been damaged by Hurricane Helene. It's called the Shea What Furniture Store. And there, Donald Trump is going to assess some of the damage. Kamala Harris is wrapping up her campaign events. She's actually going to be leaving Las Vegas this morning, heading back to Washington for a briefing by FEMA at some of the steps the federal government is taking in response to the damage of caused by the hurricane across a whole number of eastern states.
Yeah, that's, of course, something you want to concentrate on when a lot of Americans are hurting. And they're talking about 100 people dead because of Hurricane Helene. And there's, millions without power still. But it has felt like Kamala Harris has not been putting the pedal to the metal. I mean, we are in the last, month and a week or so of the campaigns, and it has not seemed like she's been making an appearance every day, which is what has felt normal in the past, Stephen.
It is certainly a choice on the part of the Harris campaign to limit her public appearances. She has had a few. Of course, there was the border stop on Friday. There was a rally over the weekend. And so, look, it's for the Harris campaign to decide how it wants to do this. They clearly have decided that in the remaining 5 weeks, just 5 weeks we have until the election, that this is going to be how they do it. And one key question is whether there'll be another presidential debate. I mean, look, Donald Trump has already answered this question by saying no, that it's too late. Tomorrow night, the vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz may be the last opportunity for Americans to watch these two campaigns off in the persons of, individuals who are representing them. So let's see how it all plays out. In a New York studio tomorrow night on the west side of Manhattan, a studio that apparently was once home to Captain Kangaroo, is where Tim Walz and J.D. Vance will face off.
Right. All right. And we're talking to ABC's Steven Portnoy. So how impactful is the vice presidential debate? I mean, can it change voters' minds? Or can it hurt a candidate? Can it help a candidate?
I don't know that it's necessarily additive. I don't know that anyone's going to come away from a vice presidential debate and say, I've changed my mind. Although, you could look at certain flashpoints in history and say that even recent history and say, in 2008, maybe it wasn't the greatest idea for Senator McCain to tap Sarah Palin as his running mate. Now, one way to look at it is to say, yes, that was the right choice because it motivated core Republicans who may have been a bit skittish about Senator McCain, core conservatives who would later become some of the leading champions of Donald Trump. They have been very much enthused by seeing Sarah Palin on the ticket and her performance on the debate stage. But I don't know that I can think of another vice presidential debate since then that has had that kind of impact. You could go back to 1988, Lloyd Benson versus Dan Quayle, and Benson making a moment saying, Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Right.
We all who have studied politics remember that, but I don't think it made a difference. And I know it didn't make a difference in 1988. And so I'm not sure that necessarily tomorrow night's going to make that much of a difference. However, I expect Tim Walz to play on J.D. Vance's unpopularity. You've heard Walz call Trump and Vance weird. That's been his shtick. And Vance is going to try to say that Walz walked away from his unit when he was in the National Guard, deciding to run for Congress rather than serving in Iraq. Walz will say he's very proud of his 25 years in the National Guard and made the decision that he made, and he stands by it.
Yeah, it might come down to, whomever wins the debate likely isn't going to change many voters' minds. But if somebody loses in a spectacular fashion or says something really stupid, that could have an effect.
It could, but then again, there's evidence that it never has. I mean, let's see how it all plays out.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks so much, ABC's Steven Portnoy.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.